Hello. What's happening, everybody? Happy 4th of July to all of the Americans out there, at least. Just give me a second and I'll pull up the stream. Stream's a tiny bit early today because it's 4th of July. Just got finished with some family games and a bit of lunch, and we're doing some grilling later. Unfortunately, the fireworks have been canceled where I am, which I'm pretty bummed about. Um, but otherwise it's been a good fourth. How's everyone's fourth been? Who does celebrate it? Um, let's see. Looks like the stream is working. How's the sound and the picture? Everything okay? Um, Derek Heat. Haven't made it to one of these in a while. Glad you're here. Says happy fourth to everyone. Hey, basic trainer. Hey, Jake, have you seen Frosted Caribou coming after King Gary again? She said it was the last straw. Do you feel like Gary is a positive or negative influence on the hobby? Oh my gosh. Um, that's quite a question. I don't really want to um, so my experience with Gary has been he's been very supportive of me and very helpful to me. Um, he's always been very kind and reasonable in our discussions. He uh, has been unbelievably instrumental in the Pokemon market, in the market existing and being here. Um, he brought. I don't know all the history so extremely well, but from what I've heard and my basic understanding is he was pretty instrumental, particularly with it wasn't like QVC, but like the Home Shopping Network or something, bringing some of those original Japanese promos from Japan. Did a lot of the early grading with PSA, and has just always been a huge advocate for the hobby, trying to build the hobby, both I think for himself and his own place in the hobby, which is perfectly fine, but also for the hobby itself, because he really cares about these things and love these things, and has poured his sweat and energy into it. And so when you think of someone like Gary, you think of any of these guys, and you're interested in Pokemon and Pokemon cards and the Pokemon market and collecting, you owe a huge amount of, I think, respect, and a huge amount of being grateful for what they've done and how they've helped build the hobby and sustain the hobby. So I don't know Gary so well personally. We've had him on the channel a couple of times. Him and I have talked a couple of times. And as I said before, he's always been really super respectful for me. I haven't loved the Logan Paul element this year, the hyping up the prices, which came a lot with Logan Paul. And I think Gary's decision bringing Logan in the hobby was one that really helped blow up the hobby, which had a lot of positives. But it would have been good if more people, and this probably isn't on Gary, this should have been on other people, more people, particularly people who talked about market and finance and the economics of all this stuff, to try to settle people down and calm people down and say do not pour your life savings in these types of things. Collect what you enjoy. And I think honestly, if Gary was here, I think he'd agree with those sentiments. And I had him on the channel and we talked about and Gary's written a number of times. I've seen him write things there's too much talk about money sometimes. It feels like it gets away from just the enjoyment of the cards and the enjoyment of the friendships and that sort of thing, and becomes all about the making the money. I think that some of those really big influencers and big names, they bring a lot of money and a lot of attention, and are obviously also very interested in money. Someone like Logan Paul talks a lot about money, talks a lot about making money. But I talk a lot about money and making money too. And I'm interested in making money. I think it's about how you make money, and some of the ways in which people like that seem to make money. I'm uncomfortable with making money that way, making money off of my sort of fame and notoriety. So that's how I feel. I haven't seen the exact comments, Basic Trainer. You're definitely, I can definitely check them out. Similarly, Frosted Caribou, I've had really good positive interactions with her. She's been very, kind and in our engagement. So I have nothing negative to say about her. I imagine the comments are probably, and someone can fill me in more in the chat, but I imagine a lot of the comments are probably about bringing like Logan Paul in, or partnering with Logan and Aoki and some celebrities, and bringing that sort of element and attention and into the hobby, and the effect that it's had on that hobby, on the hobby. So yeah. Hey Winters, good to see you. You say booyah, nice to see you. The Frosted Caribou versus Gary thing, in my opinion, is just a misunderstanding of Gary saying that Arita's signature didn't mean much on the case and was taken out of context. Oh, so maybe there's a misunderstanding. I guess I need to know what's going on before I would comment one way or another my opinion on it. I like both of those people, and I think both of them are important, positive, forces in the hobby. I'm sure I'm going to disagree with both of them on a number of things. I've heard Gary say things that I disagreed with, and I've heard Frosty Caribou say things that I disagreed with. So, but I believe that their intentions are generally, in the right place. So. GeorgeBot says, I think Gary has been manipulated by Logan into legitimizing a lot of the crypto NFT hype with which Logan has infected the Pokemon community. People with different opinions. People are going to have different opinions of me, and some people really like me. Some people think I'm like a really kind, great guy who's really helpful. I've heard other people who think that I'm arrogant and a jerk and think way too much of myself. So people are going to have different opinions of everyone. It's hard when you don't actually know people and you're not actually friends and you're not in their intimate lives, because people also have online personas that may or may not be them. So just, that's what I would say. I think some common sense stuff. These are both people with feelings too. So just like I'm a person with feelings, and I'm going to get things right or wrong, and right and wrong at other times, and just like they are. So, nice to see you, Aiden HTWA. Pokebarn, good to see you. Josh Harris. Thrifty, nice to see all of you guys. Yeah, so today the plan, I guess I just jumped into that first question, which was a heavy one. Thank you for that, Basic Trainer. And I can, look more into that situation and give you guys my comment. Generally my take is like, it's good to, address people and point things out that you disagree with, or point things out that you shouldn't, that aren't good for the hobby. I think ideally it comes from that place of like, we're all good for the hobby. We all really care about the hobby, and how do we frame it and phrase it and work together to and have some of that like self-awareness piece to, realize the negatives that we all bring, that everyone brings. And I'm sure there are negatives that I bring too, which I try to be aware of also. So, GeorgeBot, okay, yeah, so I keep getting off topic. So I guess a couple of messages just to put out there. Thank you all so much for people who are supporting Patreon. It's awesome that continues to grow. I hope all of you that did really enjoyed the first live that we did. Thank you for going through that with me and for trying out some different things. I think in the future, we're probably going to do a little bit more engagement and letting like kind of more people speak. We're going to try to do some discussions, maybe some debates in the future. I am going to bring we're probably going to add a few more sections into it. So we have like the analytics part in the beginning where we go over some numbers that we think is important. Then I think it might be good to quickly go over just some different things I'm looking at, if I'm buying and selling anything, if anything has sort of changed, just sort of an overview of what I'm doing a little bit, and then I won't be giving everything obviously, but enough that I think it will be it'll be helpful. and then we'll go into some Q&A, and then leave a little bit more time at the end for discussion, so that, because I think that was probably one of the coolest parts, was just the ability to like meet a lot of you guys and talk face and actually see your faces and hear your voices and comments. So I just want to thank everyone for that, and thank you all for those. There's no pressure ever to be on Patreon. You're still a member of this channel and community. If if that's, you don't want to pay, or it's not worth it to you, or you just prefer to come for the live free weekly chats, we're always going to do it here. I always want people to feel welcome, regardless of if they feel like it's worth it to pay for that extra thing. The Patreon just allows me to make some money, which is going to hopefully get me a little bit more financial freedom from my other job, which I do really enjoy, but I'm not sure I want to do full time forever. And, I don't know how much I want to share on camera here, but that's sort of where I'm at with all that. I guess to address the fact that I haven't been making that much content recently, or videos. Just been super busy with work. I've had some like extra shifts. I've had some extra on-call stuff, and preparing for the Patreon and doing all of that. So I haven't been, although we've been doing the lives, I haven't been doing the as much as kind of talking to camera videos. That's also because I don't have a lot of stuff that I really want to say just to camera. I prefer interacting and seeing what you guys want to hear. That's definitely part of it. I don't ever want to just like make videos just to build the channel or I want to make videos when I feel like I have something to say. So I will try to, and am keeping a list of things that I think, of topics that might be interesting to cover over the coming months. I'm sure I will start making more videos again, but we will always be doing these Sunday lives outside of that one week a month. So hopefully you guys can keep tuning in and engaging in those. GeorgeBot says, when you think of Latios and Latias, what do you think are their key cards in the hobby? Alto Marys and EX Dragon EX cards for me. What do I think are Latios and Latias' key? I mean, what pops into my head immediately are probably the gold stars from Deoxys. Those cards are extremely hard to grade, very low pops, very cool looking cards. I also really like the, it's called like the Alto, you said it here, my gosh, the Alto Marys, yeah, exactly. I don't even know how to say that, but those cards are really cool looking. I like those Japanese ones. EX Dragon EX cards, yeah, some of the EX cards, and just like, I'm trying to think of some regular holos that I like. But I would say you hit some good ones there, and then I would add probably the gold stars to that. Winters, and the Winters after that says that it's the gold stars for him. KK says, well said about Gary. He's done overwhelmingly positive things for the hobby, but inevitably some kickback through osmosis. Yeah, I mean, also when you get that big and you have that many people watching you, there's always going to be more, also probably some negative stories and negative pushback. So, and you're just not going to please everyone. That being said, like some negative feedback can be constructive and fair and reasonable, and then some can be, over the top and unfair and not taking into account like the positive, that sort of thing. So that's what I would say. HWA says, she talked about his NFT and how he wasn't transparent about the percentage that went to charity versus pocketed. Yeah, I heard a decent amount about that as the NFTs were going on, and just a feeling of frustration of just like that there wasn't a lot of transparency, maybe, or as much transparency as there could have been. I don't really know the intimate details. I'm not going to speak on that. Not referring to that specific situation. In general, my stand on that sort of thing is, if you're going to say, and this isn't saying anything specific about what happened there because I don't know what happened, but if you're going to say that something is for charity, and it's not 100% for charity, but you're only giving like a portion of it to charity, particularly if you're pocketing some yourself and it's not just going like, because for example, I'm sure he also made some money off the NFT to like pay the artist and pay the people he was working with. So it probably didn't, like, a lot of it or any of it may not have even gone into Gary's pocket. So you'd want to know that sort of stuff. But it would be great to have the transparency of being like, well, the artist is going to get paid, these team members are going to get paid, and the rest is going to go to charity, or 50% of the rest is going to go to charity. To have that balance, because if you say that, like, if you make it seem like 100% of it's going for charity and people are donating based on that idea and wouldn't have bought it otherwise or done it otherwise, then you can get into, I think some sort of like misleading stuff. So some people are saying they're like a bunch of sexist comments towards Boo. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I've been working hard and like hanging out with like friends and going out again now that we can like leave the house. So I've been a little bit away, I guess, from the Pokemon world and the Pokemon and some of this Pokemon drama. Trombone said Gary was degrading Arita's signature while selling his own signed custom cards at Collecticon. Okay. I don't know. All right, I'm not going to talk any more about that. I think we can move on from there. But I will do some more research and like let you guys know, I guess, my opinion on that. Let's see. Jimmy Jam Mayer says, "Oh, hey, good to see you, Jimmy Jam. Do you like the Celebration set? I find it kind of boring, and it's a small set, so I think it'll get boring fast. What do you think?" So to be completely honest with you, I haven't seen like all the cards yet, because I've really like not been looking at Pokemon this week at all, which feels kind of good to have a little bit of a break. But I do know, like, the last I saw, the cards that I saw released were like the Venusaur, and there was like a Level X and a Gold Star and a Concept and like a light Neo Destiny. I forget which, maybe Toxicity. I'm not sure which Pokemon, but and I kind of liked those. I thought that those were cool. I thought that was pretty exciting. But it's a very small set, right? It's only like 25 cards. I'll probably read at the bottom later on. But yeah, I can like, I think also hopefully I'll be able to buy some and I'll be able to look at the cards in person and then give you guys my like opinion if you're interested. In my subjective, view of like, do I like them or not? But it's nice that you're giving your honest opinion, Jimmy Jam. I appreciate that. I hate the like overly positive hype when people like don't actually like something. It's a huge turnoff for me when it's like, do you even like this that much? And you're like screaming at the camera and saying how much you like it. But I do think I'm probably gonna like this set just because it has a lot of things that I really like, and I'm a big vintage collector. So it's gonna have a lot of like vintage type things. I think that'll be cool and fun. Although if it's a very small set, like I think it is, it might get very repetitive and old quick. So we'll see. Trombone Guy says I'm done with the sets 4 and 5 in Pokemon. I need 2 more base set cards and some Rocket. That's awesome. Making progress on those sets. It's a really good feeling to see those like spots in your binder get filled up or in your PSA collection. Adam Sissel says, "Are you buying anything, Jake?" Yeah, so I'm actually buying some non-Pokemon stuff again. I'm still actively buying, so I'm not going to talk about what I'm buying because I don't want to affect the market or push the market up on some of the stuff that I'm buying, specifically outside of Pokemon. In Pokemon, I guess I'll say that I'm buying some like interesting vintage cards, like really old cards, like much older than Pokemon. So I'm starting to spread out a little bit and get out of just sort of my 80s and 90s period, and I'm starting to collect and invest in cards in TCGs and CCGs and non-TCGs, but just different type of like collectible type cards from that are quite a bit older. So been buying that. In terms of Pokemon, just sort of looking right now. I'm not in a rush to jump back in. Bought a few. What did I buy? I bought a few jungle cards. Like I bought this this Jolteon. I don't know if you can see that actually because I'm not looking at the screen, but yeah, this Jolteon here. I think I bought another jungle card too. I never completed the jungle set in PSA 10, so with the prices, down a bit, I'm working on trying to complete that now, kind of when they drop. Although I saw some prices go a bit high in the last PWCC auction, higher than they went before. So it's interesting. I'm seeing some things continue to fall a little bit. I'm seeing other things continue to go up. I think in large part because we really had a drop off in demand, which brought the prices down when people were just kind of not as interested in Pokemon, going outside again, all that sort of stuff. This is my theory, right? And but the supply hasn't gone up on any of these like PSA 10, harder to grade vintage hollows, and so we just don't have to worry that much about the supply side. So now that the demand side has already affected the prices, I think we're seeing a stabilizing of the prices, and they might go back up a little bit on those types of items. Although I do think like the 9s, the 8s, and the 7s, a lot more of those coming out and being graded, and those pop reports continuing to increase might drive the prices down a little bit on the 9s and 8s and 7s, which might affect the 10s as well, and be a little bit of a weight on those. Yeah. Niwi says, from the promos that have been revealed for Celebration so far, which ones are you most excited about? Yeah, I should look more closely again. So the last time I looked, there was the leak of the ones from, I want to say it was Brazil. I might be wrong though. But I think they were Portuguese. So I thought some of those level X cards were cool, level X style. And then there was the what's it called style? I'm blanking on the name. Whatever. That's bothering me. Whatever. Yeah, I'm blanking on the name, but so the level X style, then you had the gold stars. I forget the name of the style where it's coming out of the frame, or it's the close-ups of the Pokemon. Blanking. Whatever. David Asplund says, I'm just happy to be in the hobby and collecting. Yeah, I think that's a good attitude, man. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. If you're not enjoying yourself, take a break, remove yourself from some of that stuff. I do think that some of the drama and the arguments are good for the hobby, even if they don't feel good at the time, because it's airing out real things and real things that people are feeling. And when people really care about something, they have opinions, right? They have strong opinions. So it's tough to say that, just kind of push all of those opinions aside, but Derek Keats says, what is your next Pokemon collection goal that you're currently working on? So I am working on I'm getting some of those jungles when they come up at the prices I want, but I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush on those. I'll be patient for prices that I feel good about. And I'm always buying Worlds promos if they come up for the right price, although those have actually gone up higher since I last, was looking a few weeks ago. So I buy some cards to just fill out old binder spots. When prices went up so much, I started taking cards out of my binders and grading them. And so now I'm buying some singles and some collections to kind of refill out the binders a little bit. That's what I'm so particularly, I have a lot of holes in my Skyridge and Aquapolis and Expedition. I have a number of holes there. I have holes in original Nintendo EX or regular hollows. I have a bunch of holes there. I think I'm pretty good. I have some first edition base holes. So those are very expensive, so I'm not sure when I'm going to fill those, but because I just don't want to pay a lot of money for binder cards. It's just not worth it. So I have the Shadowless and the Unlimited filled out in binders of base set, for example, but not the first edition hollows. I've pretty much all of the commons, uncommons, and rares, but not all the hollows. Omnipoco, hey Joe, it's been a while, man. Miss you, man. Hope you're doing well. Omnipoco says, what's on your wish list for the 25 most iconic cards which get reprints in our 25th anniversary set. What's on your wish list for the 25 most iconic cards? 25 most iconic cards. Some that come to my mind are like Blaine's Charizard from Gym Challenge. I love that card. I would also take the Dark Dragonite from Team Rocket. If we let's pick one from each set maybe to answer this question. So if I could pick one from each set, so I'm gonna go Alakazam from base set, for me. Then I'm gonna go for jungle. I'm gonna say go Snorlax for jungle. For fossil, I'm going to go Dragonite. Some pretty typical choices, very basic choices. Then let's say from like Team Rocket, let's go Dark Dragonite. Legendary Collection, I'm going to go the Mewtwo. The Christopher Rush Mewtwo. From Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge, let's go Blaine's for Gym Challenge. From Gym Heroes... Blaine's Charizard, excuse me. From Gym Heroes, I'm going to go Blaine's Moltres. I think that Blaine's Moltres is awesome. From Neos, let's go... you probably have to go Lugia, but I also really like Slowking. I really like that art. And I like Slowking as a Pokemon. I think it's a really cool Pokemon, so something about Slowking I like. So I'm going to go Slowking from Neo Genesis. Neo Discovery, I'm going... Umbreon or Tyranitar. It's a close one. Neo Rev, gotta go Shining Gyarados. Easy choice. That card's awesome. And from Neo Destiny, I'm gonna go Shining Tyranitar, I think, from Neo Destiny for me. So I'll end it there. Those are from my WotC era. I guess E-Series I'll do too. Let's do E-Series quickly. So my favorite Expedition art is probably between the Blastoise and the Feraligatr. It's like the underwater, the half above water, half underwater arts. I really like those arts. Be interested to hear if you guys want to comment some of your favorite arts from that set. I'd be interested. I'll read through the discussion later to see what you guys were saying. So I'm always interested in what people like. From Aquapolis, I'm gonna go Crystal Lugia. That card is sweet. From Skyridge, I'm gonna go... I really like the Articuno from Skyridge. Just the regular Articuno. And then the Crystal Charizard's awesome. So, and obviously was like the channel mascot for a while. David Asplin says, Jake in the chat. So a question for both of us. I'm curious about your opinion regarding graded booster packs, both old and new slabs. So I think in the new slabs, I kind of like them. I have to admit, the price points don't make sense. Like, they're way too expensive, and a lot of that is going to come from the fact that it takes so long to get them back, probably. But the value on those are pretty expensive because they're just not that hard to grade, particularly like taking them fresh out of a booster box. Like you can make money like opening a booster box, like grading the packs theoretically, although who knows when you're going to get them back and who knows what the prices will be somewhere down the line. But overall, I'd be a little concerned about the markup. I think is really big for graded packs versus graded cards. But I do like, whereas I think graded cards are often undervalued compared to the booster boxes, I think graded packs are generally overvalued for me personally. But I really like the way they look. I also really like to display them in that. I think as a display piece, they look really nice. And as a protection piece, they look nice. And also as a authentication that it's not resealed. I know that they've had a few, I think, that were resealed, that people like broke open and they misgraded and things like that a long time ago. I heard stories about that. But I think generally speaking, it's going to be pretty safe, or a lot safer than just buying a random, pack online. And then with the new slab just looks a lot better. That they're not taking sort of the long crimp of it and folding it over, or whatever they were doing, folding it in. They folded those packs, I think, because they're really made for like the old sports junk wax era packs, and that were these like small sort of square packs, and that's why they never fit. They never like made a new case for Pokemon packs. Now they have this new case that fits the pack. So I think that's great. I definitely think it's an area where I think more people will want those things over time and collect them. I'm just not sure about the prices right now. People like the Latios and Latias alternative art, the one with the heart. I'm not a big fan of that card, and I seem to be in the extreme minority because people love that card, and it's going for like $1,400 in PSA 10, which I'm amazed at. That's how much I bought like this, right? So PSA 10, like first Jolteon, a little surprising to me, but to each their own. I have heard that people really like that card because it's like nice to give that card to someone as like a gift for Valentine's Day, that like boyfriends have given their girlfriends that gift. I think that's like adorable to have like a boyfriend and girlfriend both be really into Pokemon and give that gift. I think that's really cute. So PokeJohn says, any advice on how to find stuff below market? I sit on eBay, Mercari, buy it now, newly listed, and wait for deals to pop up, but it's been getting hard to find them. You're probably doing what you need to do, and it's just a matter of patience. But also going on Facebook, Instagram, looking through Verbank. Often Facebook and Instagram, you can find even better deals. There can be a little bit more risk, and it can be a little bit harder to locate them, but at times you can definitely pay under eBay. Basic Trainer said, I went to Collecticon. That's awesome, Basic Trainer. I wish I was there. It would have been fun to meet you, and I know like Swami went. Love to meet Swami in person. I feel like Swami and I are friends, but we've always just like been online friends. It'd be great to actually like hang out in person. So you said, as a Pokemon-only hobbyist, and as MetaZoo made waves with all the product they gave away, on top of opening product with all the Poke influencers. Does MZ have legs here? I don't know. I feel like my take on MetaZoo feels the same. It's just that we'll have to see. Are you really going to get it into people who are not entrenched in sort of the online Pokemon YouTube community, who's seeing their beloved influencers, all open it and get really passionate and engaged in it? Will it really have legs? I don't know the answer to that, but we'll watch. I don't think it can't succeed, for sure. And I as I've said before, I like the basic concept of it. So Quentin Debaney said, "What's your opinion on Play Promo Plusle and Minoon? 2,000 and 3,000 points. They're cool. I like them. They're non-holo, which is a bit of a knock. They're not, the most popular Pokemon, but I do like Plusle and Minoon, so I think they're cool. I have a few of those copies in PSA 10 and PSA 9, so I like them. I like all of the play promos, though, and I like completing the whole set in graded and ungraded. I like having the whole set together. So that's part of why I like them. Pretty niche, obviously, and they're pretty niche compared to a lot of other play promo options, which is reflected in their lower price point compared to others. Aiden M says, "Hey Jake, thoughts on the staggered tier opening from PSA? Oh, along with the price increase." Honestly, Aiden, I haven't even checked. I heard they were, yeah. Maybe I'll check. Give you my feedback. That's how I'm not, not engaged at the moment. Like the last 10 days, couple weeks, and the fact that I'm also taking a break from, I'm not grading anything right at the moment. Let's see. What are the new prices? Let's see. Tiered approach to reintroducing these service levels. Okay, I'm viewing current grading options, and it looks like I can do 200, 300, or 600. Those are my options right now. So the 20, the 50, and the 100 appear still suspended for me. Yeah, my feeling on like PSA is just like I would just be patient and wait for things to calm down. Unless you're a business, right, and a reseller where you have to move the inventory. That's sort of been my message for the past few months. I feel the same way now. I would wait for things to settle down. I would wait to see where the pop reports all level out before I'd be sending lots of stuff out. Unless you are trying to flip your inventory as quickly as possible, and then you might want to take the chance. That's a personal thing, and you have to sit down and do the math because it depends on the card and the service and how quickly you're going to be able to flip it, and there's a lot to consider. Michael Bowerman said, question, thoughts on the Japanese PAL Stadium promos? Only ever see the Magikarp and Hitmonchan on eBay. Any thoughts? I'm not familiar with those. Let me look them up. Oftentimes, I'm not familiar with the name, but then when I look them up, I recognize the art. And when you're asking questions, just a general thing, giving me the years is really helpful because I have a decent memory for things for the numbers for the years because I've looked them up so many times on like Bulbapedia and other places by year. Okay, so PAL promos in Pokemon. Let's see what comes up here. Oh, I see. Okay, I have seen these. These I don't own, and I don't really know anything about. I'll be completely honest with you. So I'm gonna have to pass on that one. I'm stumped on those. Yeah. If anyone knows anything about them and can help Michael, please feel free to share, to help him out and share in the chat. That would be great. I would go, Michael, on Bulbapedia. You can find out more about the release. I'm sure that there's good information there, but I don't have any experience buying them, grading them, selling them, all that sort of stuff. E says, I think them bringing back all the things from the past, like Level X, Gold Star, etc., is a great thing rather than a reprint like Evo was. Yeah. I mean, I think Evo was a great set it was a great idea. I don't think the execution was very good. I think the execution on the Japanese side in CP6 was quite good. I don't think it was good on the English side, particularly just the look of the cards I never liked, even from when I first opened that set. But the idea of like reprinting base set was a great idea and brought tons of people back in the hobby and was very successful. So my issue with Evolutions is obviously just the price point and the idea of it being investable rather than people enjoying it. Let's see. People saying they hope they can buy some. Yeah, me too. Be fun. Definitely be fun to open some. Let's see. What else we got here? Oh, primes. Yeah, primes was the word I was trying to think of earlier. And I like primes too. I own the complete prime set because I actually like them. Rafi does not like them. I think they're a bit hit or miss for people. Like some people seem to really not like the primes, which is interesting to me. I like them. They're just different. I definitely don't like them better than a lot of other arts that I also like, but Adam says Crystal Ho from Skyrage is one of his chase cards. I love that card, and I don't own that card. I own an ungraded version somewhere, but it's very beat up. I don't own a PSA graded version. It was one of the cards I just was never able to get at a price that I felt comfortable paying, and it just kind of kept going up. So it's something that I might not own that card until I either have a lot more money or until some of these other things I'm looking at go up in price and I feel like Pokemon has better value, or a card like that is better value to me. Michael G says, "Hey Jake, do you think Japanese vintage sealed product will be a good long-term investment? I'm collecting base set through Neo Sealed. I'm not expecting huge returns, just hoping for 2 to 5 times in 10 plus years." I honestly have no idea, Michael, if you're going to see a 2 times to 5 times investment in 10 plus years. I think if you see a 2 times investment, that would be great. Because prices are already really high. prices make more sense now. Not they've come back down a little bit more sense. Before they were literally insane compared to like a lot of other hobbies and a lot of other really cool collector items from other sorts of things you could have bought. But now I'm feeling, prices make a little bit more sense. Hopefully they'll stabilize and hopefully they'll go up for you. I'd love for you to make that type of return. I just can't predict the future, I guess, is my answer to that. I definitely don't consider myself any sort of expert on the Japanese sealed product. So having a good feeling or instinct on how much is out there. I don't see it. I see it surprisingly little, but I'm also not like super plugged into that world. I'm not looking for those items. I'm not trying to buy those items. So USAPS says Pat Flynn cracked open a old style PSA pack slab and the pack had creases on it. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see what else we got here. Akihabara 420 says, "Hi Jake, what non-TCG Pokemon cards do you like? Also, can you sing the Pokemon theme song for us?" I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. That's all you get. I was gonna do another like ridiculous music video replacing the words in that song, and I was just like, I can't do any more of this. It's too embarrassing. But as far as non-TCG Pokemon cards, what do I like? I like my very favorite are just I think always going to be the 1997 Monster Card S cards, but a lot of the Meiji cards are really cool from 98, 99, 2000, all those years. I really like a lot of those. I like the Topps like first appearance kind of like ghost looking cards. I think those are kind of cool. Topsun, and I've always liked Topsun. I like the base Topsun. I also really like the prisms from Topsun. Something just like really vintage, old, original sort of feeling about those. Those are probably some of my favorites. And there are a lot of others, that don't get talked about and probably don't get their due. Let's see, people like Expedition Magby from Expedition, Blastoise from Expedition, or the Mew. Oh yeah, thank you, Josh, the Mew. I forgot about that Mew is great. And I didn't pick any non-holos, and there are some non-holos that I freaking love from, like, oh my god, the non-holos from Skyridge. I think I like a lot of the non-holos from Skyridge better than the holos. Like Lapras is great, Snorlax is great. There's just like every single one almost. I just love that. That whole set is incredibly good. I just sent out a bunch of those cards, like not just, but now like it's probably been like 5-6 months ago to BSA. So. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit. Where am I here? The chat keeps freaking out on me and jumping me around. We're talking about different ways to collect, like collecting each illustrator. Jimmy Gem says he's been looking into Force of Will. I don't know basically anything about Force of Will. Jimmy Gem says Rudy from Alpha Investment made a video about how we are about to hit the floor on many collectibles. Do you feel this way as well? I don't really know what he would mean by the floor. Like, the lowest it could ever go. Like, generally when people say, does something have a floor, it means, like, could it go under that? So, not sure about that take and where he'd be getting that from. My honest feeling on Rudy is like every 6 months he says, you know, he's and this doesn't, I don't mean to be a huge slight on Rudy, but like he's always late. Like, and when I say late is he doesn't ever say what's happening next. He just tells you like what's happening now. And so if you're following what Rudy's what's saying in his videos, you're actually doing the worst you could probably do, because when he says like things are bad, it's usually probably the time to buy, and he's doing that. So this isn't what he's not doing, but and when he's saying like things are amazing and unbelievable, that's, it's probably, usually that's when it's at like the height from watching Rudy over like the last few years. That's what I've tended to notice. And like every 6 months he's sort of telling, saying the sky's falling, and, of course his thing is always just hold the cards, and eventually they'll go back up and all that sort of thing. But where do I think we're at right now? I don't know. I think TCGs in general, there's a lot of undervalued TCGs, CCGs, just collectible cards, vintage stuff outside of Pokemon. There's a lot of that stuff. I have felt, and I have a theory, that cards in general have become more of a collectible asset. And so Pokemon sort of led the way with that. And of course you have sports cards, of course, but Pokemon is sort of the non-sports area, and you had Yu-Gi-Oh! And of course Magic, which has been there for a long time. But really what led this sort of new push was Pokemon. And I think collecting cards as an adult and having cards and being interested in cards is really blown up. I think that market has really started to establish itself and is just starting its growth over the next 30 years. That's my actual opinion. So I think there's plenty of opportunity in all of these things. I think Pokemon got the most overpriced this year, and people sort of lost sight of like what this was, and were too focused on this and not focused on other things that they should have been, from the investment standpoint. So that's what I would say. But do I feel like we're at a floor and it's going to go back up now? I don't know. I have no idea. In the short run, I think. In the long run, that's how I feel. I have a bullish thesis that I believe will be correct, that I believe still people are underestimating certain items outside of Pokemon. I don't think people are underestimating Pokemon. I think people are either probably estimating it about right for a lot of vintage stuff and are overestimating a bunch of other stuff in the hobby. That's my honest opinion. There's nothing that I think people are like way underestimating anymore. I thought maybe like Worlds promos were probably the thing that I felt were probably most undervalued in the entire hobby. When I came in the hobby, I looked around at the cards, I was like, World promos seem to be, top 5 most undervalued. That's not true anymore. That's changed now. So, you can't get those for $100, $200 anymore. The Art Academy cards, those types of cards I was talking about, when I started making videos on those on my channel, they were selling for $700. You could still buy them for $700, $800, $900. Now, one that I bought for about $700 just sold for $8,000 or something this week in PWCC auctions, or last week or whatever. So it shows you the power of those super rare cards. They don't come up a lot. They're actually only 100 in the world. They're really cool cards. So while other cards are falling in price, those types of cards are continuing to go up or remaining strong because people are starting to understand them and appreciate them. But there are less and less of that left now. So hopefully people who are watching the channel picked up some of them early on. Nicholas Carboni says, hi Jake, longtime viewer, finally able to make Sunday Live. Oh, great to have you here, man. I've been hearing about interest in extremely low pop PSA/DNA 10s. How would you value a base set unlimited Holo 10? Versus its counterpart. What? I'm not sure I understand. I think you're talking about like signature cards, right? So how would I value the I apologize, Nicholas. I'm not sure I'm understanding. It might be me being dumb, but I've been hearing about. Yeah, I'm not sure. So you're asking like just like a regular base set unlimited holo versus like a base set unlimited holo 10 signed by the artist? If you're asking that, I don't know. Definitely not. I'm not super up on like signatures and the prices of signatures. For my experience, prices are a bit all over the place, and um, understanding signatures is a whole nother thing. And I think a lot of people who are collecting signatures or investing in signatures, I would be, if you're doing that, I would be very careful in understanding like what type of value signatures have brought in other hobbies. So obviously signatures have been is a huge part of collectibles. There's all sorts of signed stuff from presidents, celebrities, what have you, that has a lot of value. And so understanding how much more the value, how much value the signature adds versus the signature on a specific type of card, you have to know how many items that person tends to sign. Do they sign them with personal notes? Do they sign them without personal notes? Do you have a very good looking signature? Do you have a rare type of signature? There's a lot of layers of what makes something collectible and valuable within people who are interested in signatures. That's not my market. That's not my big interest. So, but I would say you gotta kind of do your research and on that, and you can dig pretty deep. Jimmy Jam says, do another music video. Michael G said, do you think prices for PSA graded shadowless hollows have bottomed or are close? For example, I'm looking at a PSA 9 Venusaur for around 1K, but I still feel like I'm overpaying. I don't want to give you like an exact amount on a card like that. So you see what I'm buying and what I'm not buying, right? Like the only things I'm buying are this. So obviously, if I felt like anything was super undervalued, including that, like I'd be buying them myself. So that's, I guess you can kind of get the answer from that. That doesn't mean I'm right. That doesn't mean that it's about to go right back up. So that's what I would say. I think if you want the card, I think shadowless cards are great cards. They're awesome, but, and we went over this like in Patreon, there's quite a bit of shadowless still being graded. There's quite a bit of unlimited. There's quite a bit of first edition base still being graded. So it's not something that I feel like, it's like it's not the type of thing where I feel like you have one opportunity to buy that card and then it's going to be completely gone. The PSA 10s from different sets and like the Neos and the stuff we've been talking about all the time, the Gold Stars, that's the stuff that could all of a sudden dry up, the 10s. If they all just find their way into collections, all 40 of them, all 30 of them, in some cases all 10, 12, 15 of them, they might just disappear and then that's it. You really won't be able to buy them at auction anymore when they just come up for the cheapest amount possible. You're going to have to try to pry them out of people's collections with big offers. Like we might get to that point with some of those cards. I don't think we're going to get to that point with those cards well before we get to the point with like a PSA 9 shadowless card, even if it is a hollow of a big 3 starter. So, all that being said, Michael G, they're great cards, and if you really want it, go for it, and you have the money, go for it. Ambrose Zayak says, I feel that a lot of pre-release staff cards... Oh, Ambroisiak, maybe? I don't know. I feel that a lot of pre-release staff cards are still undervalued and pretty affordable. How do you view them? Yeah, I really like the World's promo cards a lot better. That's just how I tend to always answer those things. I think a lot of those staff cards in Modern, for like modern collectors, like if there are people who are only super modern collectors, even though the Champions Festival ones are modern, I like those so much more. I think that those are a lot rarer. They were going for less. They're a lot more historic and important. That they're the World's promo from each year. They have much better in a lot of cases, they have like better Pokemon and a lot, other than Charizard and like the staff Charizards, which there have been a number of, fair enough, and the Lugia probably. But Pikachu's on most of them, for example, and would arguably even more popular than Charizard or similarly popular. Probably not quite as in terms of value, but close, fairly close. seems to be the second most valuable when it's on a really high level chase card. Um, so, but yes, they are definitely undervalued as compared to like certain modern set cards that in PSA 10 are alternative art cards that are going for over $1,000, or even some Japanese promos or just modern promos for sure. In my view, I agree with you because I think that they are cool and they are pretty rare. Basic Trainer says at Collecticon, Don Diego Trading Laura bought the complete set of 2010 Japanese design contest illusions. Yeah, those are cool. 45K. Whoa. What's your take on the deal and those cards? Yeah, that's a big. Okay. That's definitely gone up in price a lot for sure. Yeah, they're great cards, only 100 each. I don't like them as much as the Art Academy cards. It's a personal thing. It's a subjective thing. There are people who like those cards quite a bit more. I do think the Art Academy cards are a little bit hit or miss. Like some of them are like really cool. Some of them I could take or leave. The Zorua promos, they're like, I just don't like most of them. There's probably like one or two that I like. So for me, most of it has to do with the story, which is really cool. Which is that they had kindergartners and first graders and second graders, third graders, fourth graders, fifth graders, etc. Create these cards, draw these arts, and I think that's really cool. I just don't really like what they drew that much, and the color choices and whatever. Yeah, they're kindergartners and first graders. So, but I like the story. I like the history. I like the rarity. Definitely cards I'd be very happy to own. It's just a lot of money, and for that type of money, there might be other things that I prefer to own as a collector, but that's just very subjective, because there are people who like really love those cards and respond to those cards on that sort of subjective way, and clearly the story and history and rarity is all there, so they're awesome. That price is pretty high just because I remember when you could get all of them for maybe, what was it, maybe like $2,000 to $3,000 not too long ago, like a year and a half ago maybe. So that's a lot. That's a big upswing. That's as much. That's probably even more. Maybe it was a little bit more than that for all. But I would say that's probably gone up even more by percentage than the Art Academy. Maybe similar. Maybe they're similar, but a lot of great comments here. Talking about Middle Earth. Hey Kid Turi, nice to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Hey Pokemon Hollow. Pokemon Hollow says Pokemon still has undervalued cards, but he won't tell you which. Let's see. Oh, am I actually at the bottom of the chat for the first time ever? That would be amazing. Oh no. No, I'm not. I skipped some questions. Shit. Nargak says, what's your favorite Pokemon set? My favorite Pokemon set is probably gosh, let's see. That's a tough question. I don't know if I can name like one favorite Pokemon set. I could probably go through each generation and name you like my favorite one, but because I have favorites from all the generations. But let's see, what is my favorite like these days? What do I find myself looking at the most? I find myself right now gravitating towards, interestingly, some of the plasma sets. I like really like the art on those, so I'm like really enjoying those right now. And I haven't said this since the beginning of the video. I see 102 people watching now. If you can take a second to like the video and help like support the channel and subscribe if you're not subscribed, I would appreciate that. Haven't asked that from you guys in a while. Thank you. If you're willing to do that, appreciate it. Let's see. Have I got any sealed product? Yeah, I've got a lot of sealed product. I recently just bought, I guess when we're talking about purchases, I recently just got actually a bunch of these. Some Dragon Ball GT Lost Episode stuff. I have a lot of DBZ sealed. I have a lot of Middle Earth sealed. I have some Pokemon sealed. I like sealed stuff, but I like it mostly for opening, and I am planning on probably opening, even though those boxes are really expensive. I am probably going to open one of those boxes for a special occasion. I was able to buy like a few of them from someone, and then another 2 from another guy for like pretty good prices. They're the hardest box to find from the DBZ, and I'm really looking for one specific card from that set to complete my limited set, my limited PSA set. So I'm probably gonna go fishing for it and just like kill myself when I waste like many thousands of dollars opening up those booster boxes and don't pull it. But it's worth the experience. When opening is always worth the experience. If you understand, it's for the experience and for the enjoyment, and it's not a good investment. Yeah, and I just like for Pokemon, I have a bunch of packs. I actually don't keep my the vast majority of my sealed stuff here, and I have like a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh. What else do I have? A little bit of some other random like I probably have like 50 random booster boxes of all sorts of different TCGs. Oh, I have a lot of Harry Potter. I have a number of sealed Harry Potters still. I sold some, but I kept some because I like it. I'm gonna open it, some more of it eventually as well, and probably grade some of that too because I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I'm looking for some like older vintage stuff, like from the 60s, 50s, 40s, and 30s, but it's just really hard to find those packs. Pokemon House says he's got positions and precious metals. Nargak said, have you invested in Flesh and Blood? I have not. I just don't have any interest in it. So for me, like, part of it is just like that, just the modern, just the modernness of it, the unestablishedness of it is not that interesting. And then the other part of like the art and the game itself just doesn't intrigue me that much personally. But to each their own. I know there are a lot of people who like love it. So, I don't invest in things I don't understand, and I don't collect things that doesn't make me happy or bring me quite a bit of joy. So, Keiko says, in MTG, if it's not a Black Lotus signed from Christopher Rush, signatures are almost considered damage. Yeah, I think generally speaking, in most cases, people also don't. It is quite a risk getting a card signed on the card itself versus getting it on the case. So that can be quite a risk in terms of affecting its price. Thrifty says, Jake, do you own any Snap cards? No, I'm a loser at life. I'm a failure at life, Thrifty, because I don't own any Snap cards. No, I wish I did. They're some of my holy grails and chase cards. So, and I should have bought one. I had a chance to buy one, and I didn't buy one because it was a lot of money, and it just felt like not the right decision at the time. I think I had a chance. I could have bought probably the Poliwag. Part of it was because it was the Poliwag, and I really like Poliwag and Poliwhirl and Poliwrath, despite what James says over there. And By the way, James, great guy, great friend. He started a Patreon and he's hating on Polyrath over on that Patreon. You guys should sign up for his Patreon because James does a lot for the community, gives away a lot of free info. He's someone who's worth supporting and is honest and like really cares about people. And I signed up for his Patreon despite the fact that it's called Polyrath Sucks or whatever. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent. But Poliwag is a really great Pokemon. But of the Snap cards, like probably the one that behind the coughing that I am just not very interested in. So I had a chance to buy that one for about 8,000. I passed. I had a chance to buy the Articuno. It was a pretty low grade for maybe 8 to 10, somewhere in there too. That's the one I should have bought because I love Articuno. I really wish I had that card, but that's okay. It just gives me more to chase. When I don't own something, definitely it for me so much of the joy is the collecting, is the hunting, is the finding, you know. So it's not about getting to the end of your collecting journey. It's about enjoying sort of every moment of it and building something that feels fun, setting new goals, tracking that stuff down. So in all seriousness, I feel perfectly fine not owning those cards, and it's just going to be fun to try to track them down throughout my life and track down other cards. And I have so many interests is the other thing, and I have so many interests outside of like collecting and you know I'm a hobbyist. I've always been a hobbyist, and I like learning new things and doing new things. So for me, it's just the process of like enjoying life. It gives you things to do, it gives you things that are meaningful, that are fun, that are yeah. Sorry, I'm rambling on and on about that, but yeah, it's important. I think people probably at times, and probably a lot of you don't do this, but I think it's very easy, and I find myself, you know, at times doing this too, where you can get frustrated or jealous of someone else's collection, or frustrated you don't have certain cards, and that's like totally the wrong way, the wrong mindset and wrong way to go about this stuff, you know. And it can be much easier said than done, but really when you think about it and reflect on it, you're not doing it for that reason. That like you're never going to have the biggest, the best, the most. You're never going to have everything, and if you did, it would feel terrible because you'd have nothing else to do and you would have already accomplished it and you move on to a new hobby. You know, I mean, why did S. M. Pratt probably start to build a magic binder? Because an alpha binder, because he needed a challenge, you know, probably. I don't, you know, and he already owned all of the chase cards and top of the mountain cards because he was here early in the hobby, right? So it's that type of thing. So as I've made a lot of progress on certain things, it gives me less to chase in that. So I move on to other hobbies and other sorts of things. And that's fun and enjoyable. But it just shows you that's where the enjoyment comes in the hobby, is the community, the friendships, the engagement, the making progress, and then the setting new goals and trying new things. Okay, enough on that. Oh, Josh, you have some Middle Earth up on auction? I'll take a look at it. I'm still trying to get a few sealed things to finish my collection, Josh. Basic Trainer says, I want to start pulling the trigger on items I've been wanting for some time, but due to the spike I stopped. I'm wondering if it's time to jump in. How close are we to the new floors across the board? Yeah, someone asked this earlier. Yeah, I don't know, right? So I would nibble. You know, I think taking some nibbles on certain cards that you're interested in or certain areas that you're interested, if you're really tracking prices and you feel like the supply isn't continuing to go up and the prices have kind of maybe bottomed out, maybe you've seen a few sales at a low price, maybe you're seeing that item start to disappear. I think one really good sign that an item might not continue to retrace is if you stop seeing it show up a bunch on eBay, and each time it shows up on eBay, it goes for a lower price. If you stop seeing that pattern, that can be a good time to buy again if you're trying to time things, you know. But you know, when you start seeing like 10 packages show up to my house every day, that's when I think we're really, you know, really at a real bottom, you know, when I start buying extremely aggressively again across the board. Or I feel very sure, let's put it that way, instead of like, yeah, we could be. Um, Thoughts on Medizu? Asking me about King Pokemon, talking about the comic books. Cryptids are an untapped market. It would be cool to see an anime. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think cryptids are cool. I have no issue with cryptids. I think they're cool. I like monsters. I really like stories, and I love like, my favorite books and stories growing up are always sort of Lord of the Ringsy type stuff, Harry Potter type stuff, and Star Wars type stuff. So any creatures or magical things or things that kind of fall into any of those categories, I love to hear like lore about and stories about, and taking you into those worlds. So I'm down for a video game, down for comic books, whatever. It's just about, do I like it or not? And I'm not going to be swayed by other people's opinions or by the hype, or I'm going to just ask myself, like, am I having fun? Am I enjoying it? Do I like these things? That's what I would encourage people to do for anything that they're buying or investing in. Enrique Shockwave, hey Jake, have any thoughts on the pop reports of the Topps Chrome series? You think they indicate accurately how rare the cards are? I don't know. Again, it's Top Chromes is interesting. I think it's probably a little bit similar to like the Top Soon Card S 1997, where there was always some market, but it was always pretty small. And now the market for all those things have gotten a lot bigger. Prices have gone up a lot, so it's put a lot of more incentive to start opening packs and grading the cards. I've seen a lot of box breaks, or a fair number of box breaks of those cards, of those old Chrome sets. Boxes are extremely expensive, so the packs are very expensive. So all of that points to the fact that, like, there's clearly value in these things. People do, at least for the moment, really like them, really want them. Obviously, when you're talking about like the techno level of rarity, down to the sparkle, spectra, what have you, understanding like the different rarity levels is going to be important, and understanding like which one should I buy, which one do I think is undervalued, overvalued. It's not my area of interest. I think I probably own 10 Topps cards. I think I own like a couple 10s. I think I own, maybe a couple Spectras, a couple Technos, somewhere. I think I own like a 10 Venusaur somewhere. It's probably my most expensive one. Trombone Guy says, investing in modern TCGs is bad, in my opinion, because everyone and their dog is doing it. Won't go up much since everyone is doing it. Yeah, that's part of it. And then the other part of it is they just won't age well. They won't, you can buy things from like the 30s and the 40s and the 50s that are cheaper than Pokemon stuff, and like major major IPs and major characters that everyone knows. You can buy that sort of stuff for less than you can buy a lot of this modern stuff for in Pokemon, and that just shows you how hot the Pokemon market is, and it's probably unlikely that Pokemon is going to continue like that as compared to some of these other things. So something has to give. I think we're probably going to do another 20 or so more minutes, maybe 30. Of questions, and then we're going to end for today because it's July 4th, and we all probably have, or a lot of us, or some of us have maybe barbecues to get to and that sort of thing. I hope some people are going to watch some fireworks tonight. As I said in the beginning, they're canceled where I am, which I'm really bummed about. Thrifty TCG says, do you have a favorite set for reverse holo specifically? I love the Team Rocket returns and the rare reverses from Fire Red Leaf Green with the energy symbols. Yeah, they're really cool. But I would probably say Legendary Collection for me. Def True says, there's a Charmander from the Snap cards up on Yahoo Japan. How often do those come up? They've been coming up fairly often recently, but on Yahoo Japan for humongous sums from, the Pocono or Pocono or whatever, from that guy, who seems to have a bunch. Jimmy J. Mayer says, Z&G only speaks the truth, so Polyrath must suck. All right, Jimmy Jam's banned from the channel. You can't say negative things about the Celtics here, and you can't say negative things about Polyrath. Then you're on the evil side. You're on the Z and G side of things, and he's evil. Trombone Guy says, question, how did you start up your capital for investing? Did you just save money for a while? This goes for anyone in the comments too. So for me, it came from, in the beginning, I was just spending some money, like extra money I had because I was living pretty frugally from my job. That I just, some of my like extra salary each month I was able to put away like a pretty decent amount, and instead of my usual thing, which I had been doing for many years, which was like investing any excess in the stock market, I started investing it in collectible cards and in Pokemon specifically, mostly. Then when I felt like about a year and a half ago now, I sold a lot of stuff. I sold quite a bit of stock, and I put all that money into Pokemon because I felt like it was a really great opportunity based on my researching other collectible markets. And yeah, and so I just felt that it, like, so many of these cards at $30, $40, $50 for the historical importance I thought Pokemon would have, and for the size of the franchise, and the fact that this theory of, like, 30-year-olds like to collect what they were collected when they were 10s. I just felt like Pokemon was going to explode, or had a really good chance of exploding. So I decided, and I really loved it. I also really, really loved it. And it was also really fun to own these things. And I decided to move some of those investments here, and took a gamble to do that. And that helped me, put a really pretty large chunk of money into everything, and helped really jumpstart it from there. And then, of course, I was buying and selling, and when I was selling and I was flipping and I was grading and then selling stuff, that helped me raise more capital too, which then I was able to plow back into it and rinse and repeat over and over again. So that was how I did it. But the living frugally and the using money off of my paycheck that I could afford was how I started initially, kind of dipping my toes into it. Watermelon says, the Yu-Gi-Oh market has not retraced to the extent that sports and Pokemon cards have. I'm having trouble reasoning out why that is. Lower pop cards, more raw collectors. Any thoughts? Not sure. I don't follow the Yu-Gi-Oh market close enough to really know, but that's interesting. I know it's retraced quite a bit, or certain cards have retraced quite a bit, but maybe not as kind of across the board, and maybe not as much. So Jimmy Jem says, just spend a little bit every week, to Trombone Guy. Definitely a way to do it. Swami, what's up, Swami? LOTR type stuff, Harry Potter type stuff, Star Wars type stuff. Yeah, that pretty much covers everything. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I don't know if I had to choose Star Wars. I love Star Wars because I love, like, the Force, and I love those movies. But that would probably be, like, as far as like a world creator type thing, the sci-fi type stuff would not be the one I would choose. I think I'm probably more interested in fantasy type stories, and I find myself, like, watching those types of shows the most and reading those types of books the most. Swami says, how did the Patreon live chat go? I'm at the bottom of the chat, guys. It was good. I think it went well. I think people enjoyed it. Yeah, it was nice being able to, like, talk to people and meet people, and see their faces and, like, hear their voices. So that was enjoyable. Josh Harris says, I like Halo more than Star Wars. I never played Halo too much. I've probably played Halo, like, I don't know, 20, 30 times in my whole life only, something like that. I never owned it. Some people going back and forth about Yu-Gi-Oh! I wish I had the money to collect Legendary Collection. First edition Watermelon says, First edition LOB was printed much more than first edition base set because Konami saw what happened with the release of Pokemon and printed a ton of it. The pulls are much less forgiving. That's interesting. I didn't know that. That first edition LOB was printed more than first edition base. That's interesting. I certainly know that Konami reprints Unlimited over and over and over and over again, and will always, because it's their way of, it's a huge moneymaker for them, and there are a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Collectors or players, people interested in it who really only like the vintage stuff and the original cards and images and characters from the anime. So that's sort of their way of continuing to engage that fan base. But I do also know, as you're saying here, that it is quite difficult to grade these cards. Although my understanding is that it's not nearly as difficult as something like the Ghost Rares or even maybe like some of the Ultimates from the GX era. I'm just kind of learning about Yu-Gi-Oh! Now. But all right, guys, let's go about 6 more minutes. I think I'm going to go to 3:30 here, and then we'll end for today and let everyone enjoy their July 4th, and we'll reconvene next Sunday. Really appreciate all of you guys for spending some of your July 4th day with me here. Pokemon Cave says, any thoughts on PSA buying golden auctions? Conflict of interest, ? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any, conflict of interest. You just have to be careful, there were a bunch of, there used to be, conspiracy theories that I used to hear about, what's it called, about PSA and PWCC, and guys who would work for PWCC, when they would get their cards graded, they would grade them easier at PSA and then send them right onto PWCC to get graded, and there was some sort of financial relationship, some sort of conspiracy theories going on there that may or may not be real. So I guess you have to be wary of that. Are them being more lenient on certain cards that go through Golden. But I would just hope that these companies would first of all take some ethical pride in what they're doing and moral pride in what they're doing. That the individuals working at these companies would do that, and I would like to think well of people, that people aren't willing to cheat and deceive and lie for gains, for money, for financial gains, although it's not always the case, obviously. But I would like to think that. Will says, I have struggled to focus on certain goals, but am tempted to get a set of Shining cards. What's your opinion on the Shining cards from Shining Legends? Yeah, I think they're really cool, Will. They're just pretty expensive for what they are right now. I like them, but there's lots and lots of them, and a lot more of those are going to continue to be graded because there's still a lot more of those, ungraded in mint condition in people's collections. Although they're starting to get more fleshed out. They were not that hard to pull, and there's still a lot of Shining Legends left, and a lot of people are sitting on Shining Legends ETBs and packs and all sorts of things. So it's not at all where I would put the Shining cards from Neo Destiny. I think as far as having a rare, more historic, important item to the Pokemon card market in the long run, I'd rather have a low to middle graded first edition Neo Destiny Shining than I would a Shining Legends PSA 10, one of those cards. But part of it comes down to just what you enjoy and what you like. Dan Roth says happy 4th. Jeff says happy 4th. Happy 4th to you guys. Thanks for wishing us all Lapras delivery. Happy Independence Day. All right, I'm willing to take one more question. If someone has one more question, I'll give it just a second, and then we'll end for today. Josh says I have some out in bulk still. Just be careful with those and hidden fates. Thrifty says, do you think cross-grading from CGC to PSA is going to be a big part of the market in the coming years? Could be. I don't know. Depends what you mean by big, but I think some people will certainly be doing that. Particularly if CGC never gains the traction they're hoping to, or never commands the same high level of prices that PSA does. Okay, last question of today. Yak says, thoughts on Evolving Skies? I don't have too many thoughts on it. I hope I get some, because I like opening up the modern sets. Obviously, it brings me back to Roaring Skies and makes me think of that. I think it should be hopefully a fun set, and hopefully they're going to print a bunch of it, just like Chilling Reign and Battle Styles, and it'll be like fairly affordable, and people can open it and have fun. So let's end it there for today. Thank you guys all so much for joining. Really appreciate the continued engagement and the great questions. You guys are great. Really fun hanging out with you all today, and happy 4th to all of you who do celebrate the 4th of July. I hope it's a wonderful day with your friends, with your family, or alone celebrating it in any way that you like to celebrate it. Hope you get a chance to do that. And I will see everyone again next Sunday. And hopefully I will have some more videos going forward. I know I've been missing in action a little from the channel, so I will do my best to come up with some ideas and topics that are actually interesting, and get those out to you guys soon. Okay, so thank you all again, and I will talk to you all soon. All right, take care.